Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the Love is in the Air YouTube hop. Today we are documenting something that we love, and that's pretty easy. you could choose anything. It is Valentine's Day that we are releasing this, and a lot of people might be documenting their significant others, but I decided to document my grandson and my daughter. Because they are something that I love. It's pretty easy. The whole idea of the hop was just to use maybe the colors from Valentine's Day, the reds and pinks, or to use to document something that you love. So that's what she said. It could even be coffee. It could be anything. So I am using this cut file that I got in my Creative Cuts Kit Club. It is a cut file from February of 2020, and it's a super cute koala bear holding a heart. And I decided I wanted to use that on this page just because he's so cute and he does have that heart. But I didn't want him in white. Originally I thought I was going to want him in white, but then his nose I want to make black, and if I make his nose black, it makes the rest of him look kind of funny, like he doesn't match his nose. So I am just going around the actual koala bear, not the flowers or the leaves or anything like that, but just the koala bear with this brush tip Sharpie. And you could use any Sharpie, any alcohol ink pen, any black pen would work, because you're just doing it on paper, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't even have to be a permanent marker, but that's what I had handy and easy to grab, and so that's what I'm using. And I find the brush tip works really well because you can kind of use the side of it and get the whole surface of the cut file. And you can see I just stuck a piece of paper there underneath my work area so that I could, I wouldn't get ink all over my actual desktop. The paper is just something I pulled out of the trash next to me. It was a piece of packaging. And that is his little nose. And I am going to ink his nose with some black ink to make it darker, but I didn't want it as dark as the actual Sharpie. So I thought this would be a good option, giving it a little bit of an outline, and then he would just look super cute. So I really like how he came out. As you can see, I left the little area around the heart and the florals white, and I like the way that they look in white, so it was a good idea. I wasn't really sure it was going to work out to my liking, but in the end I like it a lot. So normally I would put my glue on the actual cut file, but in this case I put it on the actual piece that I'm backing it on, and then I used my glue on the pieces that were not on the edge, so like the arm where it comes into the middle of the body and all of that. I just decided to go ahead and ink the actual cut file for that. And the reason that I did that was because sometimes when I set my cut file down on top of it, on top of the paper, when it's a large piece like this, I don't hit right in the right spot, and then I get glue in an area that I don't actually want glue. So by doing the outside outline of the bear, I knew I wasn't going to get glue in a spot on him that I didn't want it on. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense. I have a really old ink pad here. It's from Versamark, and it is, or Versafine, which I think is the same company anyway. And it is in, I think it's called Misty Mauve or something like that. But I am just giving a little bit of shadowing and darkening to his tail, and I had already done around the outside of the bear, and that's why he looks a little darker on the outer edges versus the inner edges, or the inside. And then I did do around where his nose was going to lay, so there's a little bit of a halo of darkness there, just to give him a little added dimension. And then I'm pulling in this, my Mind's Eye paper that I have in my scrap bin with all of these polka dots, and I'm using that to back the flowers. And I thought that color was a really good match for the pink that I'm putting everything on. It's kind of like a corally pink, not really like a bubblegum type pink. So I wanted to make sure that I had a darker version of what I'm using rather than like a whole nother shade of pink, because it was very, I don't know, it didn't look good if it was a different shade of pink, if that makes sense. And then the original piece of paper that everything is going onto is a really old piece of Ellie Studio paper, and I'm not actually even sure what collection it is from, but I could, let's see here. You know what? I might have it right here. I think it is from Love You More, but don't quote me on that. So anyway, it's an older piece of Ellie Studio, and I really like how it looks. I like that it's not a solid color, like it's not like cardstock where it's all one color. It's got some variation and some detail in it, and so that works really well for what I'm working with. And then I am going to pull in a couple of papers from Felicity Jane, and they're older papers that I got in a kit, oh, probably 2 years ago. That was like a Black Friday sale where they gave you like a grab bag of however many pieces of paper. And so I'm going to pull those in, and they match great. You can see off to the right under my scissors, there's one of them. That one is actually not going to get used, but the two underneath it will. And here I'm going to round the outside of him again with my black marker, and I find that this is a really good way, like if you fussy cut stamped images and stuff and you don't want the white edge to show of the paper, just go around it on the edge with a marker like that, and it kind of removes any little bits of white that might still be showing. And here's one of those pieces of Felicity Jane paper, and I really like that it has the yellow in it because I put the yellow flowers with the koala bear down there, and so I think that looks really good. And then this piece of paper is a text, and it says the good stuff on it. At least I think it says the good stuff. And, yeah, it does, and it's super cute, just black and white text with like a scripty font or scripty handwritten font. And now I'm pulling out my Catherine Pooler inks. This is Rockin' Red, and yeah, it's red, but it looks fine. I'm not putting a ton of it on. I didn't really find a corally peachy one that I liked. The Coral Cabana one was a little bit more orange than I wanted. And then I pulled out the same Catherine Pooler ink, but in Tiara, which is kind of like a yellow that leans a little more to the orangey color, the orangey side of yellow versus the really lemony yellow. So I pulled that in, and then I'm looking through some stamps to see what I want to use, and I pull out a Kaiser Craft stamp that is called Floral Wallpaper, and I really like the way it looks. It's just little tiny flowers. I end up using the Coral Cabana for this particular part because on top of the pink it was the right shade, but on top of the white it wasn't the right shade. If that, I think hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I did try a couple of colors there, and you can see that one is more orange than the other, and I didn't want to have more orange brought in, so I wanted it to stay true to like a pinkish red, and the Coral Cabana on top of that pink paper was the right color for that. So I really like how that's looking. I am going to add a little bit of more of that stamping detail along the bottom edge of this piece of paper, peeking out from the bottom edge. It's not actually stamped on the paper, as you can tell there, but I do like how that looks also. And then I'm going to bring it down the left hand side just a tiny bit. I am leaving a gap there at the top because I know that I need about that much room for that floral paper to leave the text paper visible. I didn't want the gap or the amount of text paper to be so small that you couldn't actually read some of it. So that's why I wanted to make sure that it was down far enough. And then I do have my photos here. They are all backed on white cardstock, and I am just adding a little more stamping detail there, and I used that piece of paper again so that I didn't get the stamp onto the white pieces of paper at the top. And I am going to pop up the photo of my daughter and my grandson up onto some foam adhesive, and I'm kind of doing that so that it makes that particular photo more of a focus than the other three. The other three are super adorable, but I wanted the focus to be the two of them. So I also have the little eyes for the koala. I didn't forget the eyes. I did have to dig them out. They came in a little baggie with a bunch of like confetti pieces. So I needed to dig those guys out, and then I did also use my pen to make them black because, you know, he would look a little creepy with white eyes if the rest of him is black. So now I am bringing in a little bit more of that rock and red at the top because that white paper um, with on top of the pink needed a little bit more, and then some more of the yellow on the edge. And I really like the way it looks. I like that the yellow brings in a little bit something different. It's unexpected. And then I have this little die cut piece, or it's from a cut apart obviously, and it says hello sweetheart. And so I'm going to tuck that underneath the photo of my daughter and my grandson. And you could use that in multiple ways because, well, she was my first sweetheart because she's my firstborn. And then he is her sweetheart, but he's also my first grandson. So I just thought it was a cute little way to acknowledge the both of them, a double meeting, if you will. And so I do have some labels here. These labels are from Pink Fresh Studio, but they match perfectly in with the yellow and that corally pink color. And so I'm going to tuck those in up there. And then I had these little acrylic hearts, and I've had these for a long time. I bought a bunch of stuff from Colorcast probably like, I don't know, four years ago maybe, maybe even longer. And so I pulled those out of a little kit of stuff that I had from them, and they're just like the right color to go with that stamping. And then that was a little piece of ephemera or a sticker from Pink Fresh Studio that's underneath the little square ink pad there, and that's just holding it down because it's popped up onto some foam, and I wanted it to stay down while it kind of dried because I used some liquid adhesive. And then I'm going to use some glue dots to hold those little acrylic pieces on. And I pull out this little yellow heart sticker from Vicki Boutin. I'm just going to add it down in the bottom of the koala. And I don't know, I didn't mention it, but the koala, I did not put him so that he's like the whole thing is on the page. I actually pulled him down so that he hangs off the bottom corner there. And the excess piece of floral that I cut off the right hand side, I tucked in right behind his head there just to use it up and add a little bit more dimension or interest. So go check out the other ladies that are playing along in this hop this month. This is a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed this particular hop. I'm going to add a little bit of journaling here, and that's pretty much going to do it for this layout. Again, check out the other ladies. I can't wait to see what they've all created. I hope to see you guys next time, and thanks so much for watching. Close-ups are coming up in just a moment, so hit like and subscribe if you don't mind, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.